Now we need to make one black and one red. Oh baby, that time for oil.
Why we ran space on space on space. So what we have to do on one side, we got to do on the other side.
First we started off with our starboard engine battery connection.
Now we need to make one black and one red. Can you get the heat shrink?
When you can't find your heat gun,
Yep.
improvise.
So our positive one that we've marked red is going to go right onto here. And to know which line it is, it's actually, you must follow the red line from your alternator to the starter motor. And then that's where that one goes onto there. And that's the solenoid on the starter motor. So you want to connect this to the red cable coming from the alternator from the on the solenoid. The red cable comes from the alternator. So this is going to go to the positive terminal on the battery, and then this one plugs onto the positive point on the solenoid. Okay, so these come from our engines, and that's the negative and the positive, or the neutral and the line that I add terminals on so that it can go on the batteries. And so that comes in there, and then I'm going to run another cable from here that feeds into our buck boost, which balances the voltage for our lithium batteries. The reason why we've got so much cable is because we're also going to run this to our battery through a buck boost, which will regulate the voltage out of the alternator and protect the alternator from the lithiums. This is a reducer for our gearbox through hole, which supplies water to the engine. This is pulling water through the gearbox. The gearbox itself is going to feed water to the engine. Just putting this in there so that we can fit pipe onto it. Is it like that? Now that attaches to our cell drive. We're going to connect our hose onto this.
And like I said earlier, what we do to one side, we gotta do to the other.
So from our cell drive, we'll use one of these hoses. A little strainer, a compact strainer. In on the one side, and it's got a strainer, and then strains out any rubbish that will come in. So the water comes in through there, and then filters out all the dirt and stuff, and then that can taken out. You clean it, put it back in, close it up, and you're good to go. So that goes from the intake of the cell drive through the strainer, and then feeds into the engine, and then the engine passes it through the heat exchanger, and then that goes back into the exhaust and out of the boat. And that's a water cooled exhaust pretty much, and closed loop cooling.
Connecting up hose always ends in a mess of hose pieces and hose clamps everywhere. When installing the water strainer, you got to make sure you're connecting up your intake and outtake properly.
Most of the time I can't show you anything because Ricky's in there trying to show you as much as I can.
Then we got started on our exhaust. And then we got started on our fuel filters.
So what I need to do on this side that I didn't have to do on that side was add a return line, because that was our primary feedback tank and now we're going to have two feedbacks. It was just running less hose, which would lead to less problems with the one engine setup. But now since we've got two, I need to add a return line. It's as easy as adding one of these into the fitting that I've got there that I blanked off, and put a line in there and feed it into here, connect up to the return. Done. 5 hours later.
And people are wondering if we need more fuel. No, we do not need more fuel tanks. This one is for this engine and the other side is for the other engine.
So the surprising thing is actually, even though we've got two engines now, these two engines together are still more economical than the bigger engine. Obviously the bigger engine was more horsepower, not a lot more, but it was more horsepower. But we should generate better thrust having two propulsion systems. Yeah, definitely a more economical system, so we'll go further with the same amount of fuel.
It was time for lunch, so while I make it, don't forget to subscribe below and follow along with us on our journey.
Leave me stranded, I know how to handle it all on my own. On my own.
Oh, bye bye. Thank you. Bye.
I have learned that no one else can carry this load. It's a train where I'm the only passenger on board. Oh, there is beauty to enjoy on this road.
So this is where we drilled the hole last time, and we hadn't bonded in yet, so we're just going to show you guys what we're going to do. There's holes there. We're just going to drill a pilot hole through each one, and then put some 3M bonding compound, and then put that in and fasten it up.
We first marked our holes, cleaned the fitting and the hole, drilled our holes, sealed it around the opening, and then screwed in the fitting.
Leave me stranded, I know how to handle it all on my own. On my own.
And repeated the process on the other side.
When we were younger, we used to sit on the grass among the flowers. We just let the days pass by. People would tell us to get a grip of ourselves and get a job. We didn't care what we were told, cause when we were younger.
So we've got these battery boxes that we've just cut shorter, and then what we're doing is drilling them into the shelf that is in the engine compartment, and then we'll put our battery inside so our battery can't move around. So there's a battery holder, and then that's been screwed in. And it also gets a strap over. Yay, honey!
That time for oil. The problem is we don't have a funnel.
Out of control. When they found out we ran from home just to scare them, we were free. When we were 17.
African funnel.
We first put in some oil and then went on to putting in antifreeze.
We try to stay in touch, but we had to move on Life ran away from us.
And put oil in our sail drive.
If I could go back, be
And filled up the
17
other side.
again, yeah, I would, just to see all my friends.
So what are you making this bracket for?
So I'm making this bracket so that we can support the strainer. It's oversized now, but it's pretty much just going to go over here. It's just like a lip fitting, and then the strainer is going to mount onto there.
How are you going to put it on there?
I'm going to screw it on and bond it.
So what are you installing now, babes?
So most of the engine's done. We just need to mount the diesel filter and prime it, and I need to add a bulge pump. That's the bulge pump that we're going for. It's a Vetus 795 gallon per hour. So it's quite a big pump, and it's an automatic float switch. So for those of you that don't know, so when there's no water, it's obviously there, and as the water fills up, this float comes up, and then there's like a weight inside that connecting two little lugs, and that opens a circuit and then automatically switches on the pump. So I need to do that so that it's also on automatic switch and will empty the bulge by itself automatically.
You can see how we wired up the rest of our boats in our previous episodes.
I wish I could turn back time.
Why are you doing that?
So that people know that this is the positive line.
So just like a little this different color.
That's it. So now you got your two lines. You feed live directly into the float switch, and neutral or negative onto that side, and when the switch is up, the circuit closes and feeds power. Pretty much.
This is why we ran space on space on space, so that we can attach things as we go.
Yep.
Before we didn't think we'd have two engines, and now we have two engines, and now we have spare line one for our bilge pump.
So make sure you subscribe below and give us a thumbs up.
And if you would like to support our production, you can do so by clicking on any of the links in the description below.
Adios.
Adios.
When we were younger, we used to sit on the grass and go, damn, I don't wanna grow old. Stay up all night singing songs on the terrace.